You are listening to a Reverie original podcast. Please download the Reverie app to get the best in queer film, TV series, music, and podcasts. Stream out loud.
Hello, and welcome to Podcast of Color. This week, we're missing our fourth trash bag, Miss Rakeem Cunningham III. But that's okay, because we have another alternative trash bag, and I'd really just like to introduce my friend, Miss Ianne. Just Ianne.
Hey.
Or do you want to
Sure. What's good, y'all? Happy Leo season from your favorite triple Leo with a rising Capricorn. My name is Ianne Fields Stewart. Do I give an intro? I use they, them, their pronouns, and I am a Black, queer, trans, feminine storyteller working at the intersection of theater and activism. Let's do it, y'all.
Accolades.
Yes. You know what? My one of my favorite things about you is your Instagram name, the actorvist.
The free activist.
The free activist.
Yes,
excuse
you can find me on the Instagram at the free actorvist.
So, yes. Okay. So the question of color this week, is who in Pose? Yes, we're doing another Pose question. Who in Pose do you have a crush on, and who do you most identify with? So, I'm gonna give it over to Miss Ianne first.
No, that's not what I mean.
Yeah. Or do you need a moment to think about it?
No, I know.
Okay, go for it.
Okay. Well, I actually auditioned for the role of Angel when they were first casting for the show.
What?
And the more that I watch, I think India is probably like my crush. I think I just like in person, she's just glorious. She's a complete, oh my gosh, she's such a goddess. And I was actually thinking about the other day, I think that like I think that India or Angel is like my crush. I think that the character I most identify with, I think it's a mixture between MJ and between MJ and Angel, I think, or India. I think those are my two.
Is I love, MJ Blanca?
Yes, Blanca. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
Because
I love like how I think that I really identify with Blanca because I think that I think Blanca and MJ both have a kind of very mature beyond their years and have like this old soul about them, and I identify with that as kind of someone who wants to like take care of people and wants to like be like kind of mother hen to folks and or mother of the house, you know. But I think that my Venus in Cancer makes me more like Angel because I'm very emotional and very like, oh, I want things. I don't want things, but I want things, and so yeah. I think
that's oh, cute.
Shall I go?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess my answers are. I feel like in terms of identify, I feel like I'm a mix of Candy and Elektra.
Oh,
what?
I can see that.
That does make sense.
I think I'm a mix of the two of them. You know, I always aspire to glamour. You know, I love to put on for the Caucasians. You know,
neither of them fuck around, and neither do you.
Huh? Exactly. Yes, and Candy be ready to fight. Like
Candy's ready to fight.
That girl stays ready. And see, at Podcast of Color, when you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. Yeah, and I don't remember the nigga's name. Is what's Damon's boyfriend's name?
Oh, child.
Oh,
his name is Dylan Burns.
Ricky.
I know that.
Ricky. Yes, Ricky.
Ricky.
And now that's also like a double answer because I think Ricky and Lil Poppy, I have crushes on them.
Ooh, I forgot about Lil Poppy.
A train.
Yeah, I just want a train, you know. Especially like, and this is, I don't think this is spoiling it, but there's a dance scene and Ricky's dancing, and it's girl,
Ricky's dancing.
Woo. There's a body roll, and
there's a
body roll in a crop top. Yes, I have a lot of feelings about that scene. But yeah, I think I mostly identify with Electra. I think it's like the abundance of of her personality, if you will. And so I feel like, that's very much me. I'm very much like theatrical. Like I'm always like just extra.
And you look amazing in fur.
I look amazing in fur.
She's bougie.
Always pulling together a look. I'm definitely very bougie.
She doesn't accept the pickle juice.
I don't accept pickle juice.
Even when all there is pickle juice. She's like,
when all that. Yes, exactly. Yeah, so like I identify with that, and then I think with Candy, I think like Candy is like very like reactionary, and I think she compares herself a lot to others for valid reasons. But I do that too, and I think she's chasing like a look, which sometimes I do as well. So I identify with
awareness.
Yeah, I identify with both of those characters. Go ahead, y'all. And they're also both dark skinned, and
Ashay?
yeah. So go ahead, y'all.
Those are two of my favorite characters. John, do you want to go first, or should I?
No, Renata, you first.
Renata.
Yeah, that's the name, girl.
I feel like I identify the most. Like it's like a combination of Lil Poppy and Angel. Where I guess kind of like I'm usually like the goofy, like weird, just.
Wait, who did you say you identify with?
Lil Poppy and Angel.
Oh.
Can you see that?
I can totally see it, especially Lil Poppy.
Where I'm just kind of like,
so much.
Just around like, this is like normal, like, or not normal, but just like basic kind of like whatever dude with like all of my like fierce femmes. Is kind of what my...
Stop, you're not
the
basic.
Self-deprecation though. Like I was like, girl, he gonna couch it.
Oh shit. I just knocked everything over. Okay, I guess not as fierce. How about that? But also kind of like am in this we can't even bring up this what happened in the finale. This is the one piece that I feel like was really important, but am kind of like sometimes in like a little bit of a maybe not so much anymore, but maybe like when I look at my love life and my history, I've been kind of in a bit of a dream bubble that like I was like, okay, it's time for me to burst that and like not be a part of it anymore.
So the angel's coming through.
And what do we call
the angel?
Growth. and who's your crush?
Probably also Lil Poppy and Angel. But no, I honestly am really also into Electra, I think. Something about Electra, I'm just like, okay. I mean, I have to be honest.
Even when you hate her, like, you just can't.
Dude, I honestly, like, this last episode, I was cracking up because I was like, wow, she's doing, like, things, like, especially in the beginning of the episode, I was like, she's doing things that I'm just like, are so annoying, but it's just like, you can't help but love her.
Yeah.
Like, you can't help but, like, really understand, like, where she's coming from when she's doing some things and, like, kind of be like, oh, God. She honestly reminds me of a lot of my really close friends because I feel like I tend to be, like, become really good friends with people that are kind of high maintenance. And, like, people that, like, I start to be like, okay, like, sometimes this is, like, a lot, but, like, I get where you're coming from and I understand it. But, yeah. Fucking... Honestly, all of them are fine as fuck. Damon, Ricky, like everyone. Like, I'll take all of them. Thanks.
Wow, another train.
So Jean, Miss Cogendohon, Miss Van Cogendohon.
I identify also with Miss Blanca. I identify with her, and also like.
Yeah,
she's the goal. She's the goal, you know, like she is helping everyone, even people who are like trying to cut her down. She said something this most recent episode. I forgot what she said. It was something like something about not winning. You know, it's not about winning. If one of us is down, we're all down.
Yes.
Yeah. It's really, like, really important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel. Like, it's... And you know, she's like, helping her friends get jobs. She's helping her friends, like, she wants them to do better, and I feel like that's what I want for everyone in my life, even though, like, sometimes she's kind of doing herself secondary. She's really looking out for everyone, and like that's kind of what I'd like to do. You know, like if you guys need a place to crash, you can crash with me, or like whatever. So
and MJ, I feel like
as well.
She's what?
She's just so brave as well. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking about the episode that she's going to the white cis gay bar of hell, and you know, constantly showing up, regardless of, you know, whether she's going alone or not. She's showing up, you know. And I thought it was really powerful. Also, that it's like that there was that shot of her that's like outside the bar, and she's saying like, I'm coming back, like you're not gonna stop me. And it's just this image of like Black trans women who just are consistently putting themselves at the forefront, and whether they see the support or not, or whether they see the effects of their work or not, they're always showing up.
Right.
Love her.
Well, we're gonna get to talk more about that in the next thing, because I wanted to go back over it a little bit.
And then my crush, I don't want to ruin it for Ian because I haven't seen the most recent episode, but there's a new character in this most recent episode that I have a crush on, just like immediately, because dang, I'm trying not to give it away, but there's a new character in it who's like involved.
Ian took their headphones out, so
oh, okay. It's Pray Tell's new interest.
Oh,
yes.
And
oh my god, I want to talk about that too. So let's talk about that at some point.
I forgot his name, but he was like, you know, and then the whole dinner scene just was so touching to me. Like I almost cried because like instead of responding to what Pray Tell had said like in a negative way, he just like opened his hands and was like, what can I do to help you? And I was like, oh my god, I got goosebumps.
Yeah.
I'm so floored.
Yeah.
Okay, tell Ian to put their headphones back on.
Okay, you can put your headphones back on. All right. So, yeah, I think that about covers that. So we're gonna be back. We actually didn't introduce ourselves. I'm too lazy to come up with anything else, so I'm just the hee-haw. I'm Baze, the hee-haw huntress, once again.
I'm John, trying out for the House of Evangelista.
You'd make it.
I'm Renee. What's up, Angel? What's up, little puppy?
Lord, shoot your shot, bitch.
Listen, if they were listening to the show, bitch,
it's over.
Ricky!
It's over.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
So,
All right.
yeah, we'll be back.
See you all in the Minutes of Color.
Hello. So that's just for Rakeem. You know what? We didn't even do what Rakeem, who
Oh
Rakeem's
yeah,
crush
what
would
would
be,
Rakeem?
and who he identifies with. I think Rakeem is Candy.
I can.
Full on, just Candy.
Just Candy. Okay, I see that.
Yeah. I don't know who Rakeem would have
I see a little Candy, and I see because like she's so dedicated to her craft and hardworking and like really intense about it. I can see a little bit of Electra too.
Oh, really? I was gonna say a little bit of Damon, because you know he's in, like trying really hard and.
Oh yes. I could see yeah. Damon too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who do you think he has a crush on?
Okay, never mind. Wait, what's the next subject?
Oh, bitch.
We're all thinking it, but no one's gonna say it. Are we all thinking it, but no one's gonna say it? Someone just say it.
No, I'm not.
What's her name? Angel's Man.
Stan Bows.
Rakeem's gonna kill us when she hears
Isn't
it.
his name like something like Pete or something?
We love you, Rakeem.
I forgot the
gonna
nigga's
kill it.
name, the cracker's name.
Pete
but
Moss. I think it's Pete Moss.
Is that his name?
No,
I think so.
his real name is
it's Stan in the
his real
show.
name is
Yeah.
Evan Peters.
Stan.
Yes.
God,
Oh God, yes, that would be Rakeem. No, yeah, that would be Rakeem's type.
God.
Because I was gonna be like, it would be the guy from Dawson's Creek, but I think he's too conventional.
Oh my God, James Vanderbeek.
Yeah, but I think he's too conventional. Well, maybe not so much now that he's older. You know, Rakeem loves a daddy.
What about Electra's Man?
Oh, but that's Baze's man.
Oh,
That is Baze's man.
Baze's Man or Rakeem?
I used to have a crush on
Detective Stabler.
Christopher Maloney. Christopher Maloney.
Yes.
Yeah, Christopher.
There's something very sexy about his energy. Like I don't necessarily like look at his face and think, oh, but there's just something very sexy about his energy to me.
The BDE.
Not obviously in this show, but but just in general.
The BDE. I used to watch Oz and Pause when he was in the shower.
Oh
So-
yes!
Wow.
Oz. It's the prison show.
Oh Lord.
I would only watch that show, sneak and watch it at night when I was jacking off when I was a kid.
Real.
Yeah,
Real.
because I couldn't watch it any other time, and like I really would just fast forward through the rest of it to see the sex scenes on DVR
Ay.
or not DVR. If you could like, I don't know. Anyway, moving right along.
Mhm.
What do we want to open with something good?
Yeah, let's do that.
Tell me
Yeah, let's do that.
something
Yeah.
good.
Good.
That's all I know about that from that song. But I had an interesting experience last week. Lord Jesus, Father God. So me, Mark, and two of our friends went to see Janelle Monáe last Wednesday at Madison Square Garden.
Yes.
We were like right in front.
Right in front.
Yes,
Right
like
there.
right in front. So like I
Right next to the
was
stage.
continuously making eye contact with Janelle Monáe and her dancers.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a point where she's performed Like It. So after she does Like It, or is it before? Maybe it's before. I don't remember. But after or before she performs Like It, she goes through the crowd and she points at people and she says what she likes about them. And so she got to a point where she got to me and she was like, "Your blonde hair, I like that shit." And of course I died because, but you know what it was? I think that was what made me aware of how many people were in the crowd, because I kind of turned around, like when I looked at her, I kind of turned to my friend and I saw that literally everybody within our vicinity was staring at me. And I was just like, oh my God, like it just like shook me to my core. And it was a pretty big space. It was at the Hulu Theater, which is smaller than like Madison Square Garden, but like it was still pretty big.
So that was intimidating.
Yes, it was very intimidating. So there was a point where shut
Lay it
up.
out there. Just let us
So there
all
was a
know.
point where she was like saying, I need someone to come up. So she started picking people out of the crowd,
Mhm.
and all like a bunch of her dancers on my side of the stage were like looking at me. And like a few like pointed at me, and I was just like, no. And so when she came over, I completely Janelle came over to our side of this the audience, I completely avoided eye contact and looked at the ground. And Mark and like my friends were like pointing at me, and I was like, no, I'm not doing it. And
Oh my God.
and so then of course like after that, like I saw everyone going up stage, and it wasn't like anybody was really doing anything. Like they were like doing a little 1-2 step, whatever, but it wasn't like anything like extreme. And so like immediately, so like initially I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen, I don't know what to expect, I can't do this.
Right.
And that's like my immediate reaction when I have to deal with something new, which is why I'm like, I'm doing like a half year resolution where I'm not turning away from new opportunities. But yeah, like I almost got to be on stage with Janelle Monáe. They all like did their little 1-2 step and then left the stage, and I immediately regretted it and was like kind of depressed for like the next 24 hours. But I'm all good now. I am good. I will always probably always regret that unless I get to like meet her in like a different capacity. But yeah, that's how I missed my chance to dance on stage with Janelle Monáe.
But
Janelle Monáe,
she
somewhere
spotted
out
you
there, there's a
out in
little
a
gay boy.
crowd, so that's something to like.
She did.
Yeah.
She
about.
did. She did.
And she said
she's
she
an
liked
amazing-
that shit.
She did
Yeah.
say that.
Janelle Monáe, somewhere out there, there's a little gay boy who's just waiting for you to make his dreams come true. Again.
Well, I'm sure many. But yeah, Janelle's like an awesome, like if you guys get the opportunity to get tickets to her show, she's an amazing performer. Yeah, she just killed it. And she had like a Janet Jackson moment, and I just like gagged. Anyway,
The gaggery.
I also just want to say that Beyonce, you better come with a new routine when you do your American leg of the tour, because I'm gonna be seeing you next Monday, and I'm waiting. I'm gonna be waiting for you at the door. So, yes,
Hee-haw Huntress is so demanding.
the Hee-haw Huntress. I'll be making my entrance, and I'll be very upset if there's not new choreo.
Maybe Janelle Monáe was like your taste test before you get to Beyonce, so that
my
like
God.
when she pulls you on stage, you'll be ready for it.
Oh, bitch! If Beyonce, I definitely wouldn't be able to do that, because that's like
Well, then, bitch,
What?
you better give me your goddamn
No.
ticket. That's what I gotta say to that.
No, if she does, I'll just awkwardly get on the stage and like do a 1-2
If
step.
the internet calls me any type of name, whatever. If Beyonce says, "You little nigga, come here," it's going to be me. You going to see me.
Well, the thing is, I'm not going to be as close because those tickets cost an arm and a leg. But you know, maybe she'll see me all the way in the middle.
You should say
that one, the
That
blonde
one.
hair.
right there.
Mm-hmm.
My hunty senses are tingling.
My hunties.
My hunty sisters.
She's like, you with the cowboy hat.
Oh, bitch. I'm not wearing that. Maybe I should.
Just singing resentment, just like, I know she was attractive.
Eh.
Daisy, is that you, bitch? Come here. Come here. Help me sing this song.
I get up and do the formation choreo with her.
Yes.
No, but yeah. So I guess we should just stick to the theme, which is basically music. Rihanna is coming out with 2 albums. Apparently, she's working on two albums. One is a pop album, and the other is a reggae album. Yes. I'm excited for both. Apparently, she's working with, I don't know these people, but R City, Stephen DeGenius McGregor, Linton TJ Records White, singer Ricky Blaze, who's actually Egyptian, and I don't really know a whole lot about Egyptian, but like the music that I've heard him on, I've heard him as a feature artist. He's really good. Ew, Skrillex in 2018.
Everyone's still working with Skrillex. It's really weird.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Like everyone's about it. I don't know what's going on.
Maybe they're using his studio. Like maybe he has like a studio somewhere that's really
Possibly.
nice.
I hope
Maybe,
that's
like,
what
that's
it
what
is.
that is. Like that he's not,
I
I don't know that he would be like, on the track.
Wow.
That's
He's more
funny.
like a producer quality, you know.
That's true. I just can't. I don't know. I just don't see what he would have to offer any artist in 2018. But I'm super excited. Are you guys excited at all?
I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
I have a question, and I
Yeah.
don't know if this is a real thing. This is like, please don't laugh at me if this is not real. But
Okay.
I
mean, I
you know
can't
how
make any
gullible
promises,
I am.
but go ahead.
yeah, don't make any promises. But did she really have Azalea Banks come over her house? And like,
I did not hear about that.
you guys didn't hear about that?
When?
No. I mean,
So-
I feel like Renee would have definitely known about
Yeah,
that.
what's going on?
He would have
There's
been the
all
one to
these-
tell us.
There's all these tweets about how petty Rihanna is, and that she had Azalea Banks come over to her house.
Oh,
Like-
Rihanna had. Okay.
Yeah, Rihanna had her come over to her house, and then like, she apparently wasn't very nice to Azalea, and just gave her like peanuts and some Coke, but like didn't offer her anything else.
Pickle juice.
And like,
Pickle juice, not pickle
and then-
juice.
and then she like walked away to the other room to party with her friends, and like didn't invite Azalea to come with her. She was just like sitting
I-
Wait, so
writing
she
for
had
her.
Azalea come over and then
Just so she could be
Well,
mean to her.
but-
I don't think Rihanna has that much time on her hands,
I
honestly.
really don't.
I don't think
They-
she would give a fuck enough.
I
to
mean,
do
they
that.
were
I mean, I
beefing.
could see like Azalea like knowing someone or Azalea knowing someone and then like coming over to
yes,
the house
that I
and
could
then
see.
she was like, I mean, hi girl, what's good? Like here's like I put out these peanuts for you.
Ooh,
What's good?
that I could see. I just
Well,
don't
so
see
Azalea,
Rihanna, like, being
Azalea
that
was on the
invested.
last album, was on Anti, and then
Was she?
she was, but she was cut when she
Oh.
got in a fight at a bar and screamed at the security guard that she was important because she was on the new Rihanna album.
Oh, okay.
And then so I don't know how. Yeah, they're not really friendly. They leaked each other's numbers on Twitter. And then Azalea sent out a message saying, "Rihanna, I want to challenge you to sing off, and let's settle this."
Why is she like this? She be saying some funny shit, but you know what? This is why she can't. Anyway, I'm not gonna go into that rant
we
again.
don't need to go into
Yeah.
it. It's clear who the winner is.
Exactly.
By default.
Why? It just baffles me that anyone could be this self-destructive. Like you have this many chances.
Hurt people, honey. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh.
she's got something going on there.
Yeah.
A collective prayer.
But yeah, I don't see them being
Okay.
friends again. But anyways,
I saw
I just don't
some of
see
the
Rihanna
stuff
wasting
online.
her
If
time
I-
doing that.
was this recently?
Yeah, I saw it like circulating, and so if I see it again,
Nicki Minaj would do something like that, but I don't think Rihanna.
I'm
has time for
surprised.
that.
I've been getting like people.
Rihanna is petty, but Rihanna's petty with a purpose.
Exactly.
She
That's what I said.
is.
Nicki Minaj would do something like that.
Like Rihanna is like, okay, like if Azalea like, you know, got in the way of like her, you know, her weed man or something like that, then I could see her being like, bitch, can you move? Like I'm trying to get to my weed man. Like I could see that. Like, but I don't like. Why is she gonna be? No. I don't see
Yeah.
that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So speaking of one Nicki, Onika,
Oop.
Nicole,
Nicolette Minaj. She did a collab with is that nigga's name Tekashi 69. Do you guys know who that is?
Yeah.
No, who's
yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she did a collab with him, which he just actually got jumped and robbed recently. So like, let's give it up to the Lord for that one. You know, hallelujah. Somebody said that's so sad. Alexa, play Nuck If You Buck.
That is so
Wait, who is he?
He's a rapper. He's this Latinx rapper. He's not black. He says nigga a lot.
Solid dreads in his.
No, he doesn't have dreads. He just has really nasty hair. And it's multicolored. He has tattoos all over his face. There's nothing wrong with that, but his are not great. Basically, he's been in like the headlines for like his beefing with Chief Keef. He's been beefing with other rappers, and basically people have just been like begging the universe for him to just get his comeuppance, and you know he got jumped and robbed. So I'd say that's it.
Isn't he also accused of being like he has like molestation charges against him? I believe.
So no, he was involved in a child pornography. He recorded a 13-year-old girl giving his friend head, I believe, and he was also fondling her while it was happening. So yeah, but he let me see, was he convicted for that? Let me to the Google.
Well, like, who is he though? Is there a song
He's
that
a rapper.
I should know that he's done?
I don't know. I've not heard any of his songs until this Nicki Minaj song.
It's not. I don't think he's like the type of person that's played on the radio a lot. It's more kind of like just he's like internet famous more.
Oh, because I'm trying to figure out why she would want to collaborate with him.
Well, that begs the question. I feel like at this point Nicki's kind of just working with whoever.
But I mean, Nicki has also like historically aligned herself. Like, I mean, it was her brother, so it's a little bit of a different situation. But she's aligned herself with pedophiles and like people with shady.
He has
sexual history before.
He has 1 million followers on Instagram, apparently.
34 million.
There you go.
A person.
I mean, if he has 1 million followers on Instagram,
yeah,
clearly.
So he pled guilty.
Oh.
To use of a child in a sexual performance. So he pled guilty to that. But yeah, so it's just interesting that one, she chose to work with a man who is on this registered sex offenders list. Two, the theme of the video is very like child, like they're doing like the patty cake, and they're like both licking ice cream.
Oh, good God.
They're both licking the same ice cream cone, and it's very much like invoking like children.
How did you get so far away from like the Beyonce?
I'm telling you, this era, it makes no sense. I feel like Nicki, at the point where she's at in her career, it should be like a rare thing that somebody gets a collab out of her. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You don't see a lot of these other rappers who've been in the game for like decades just working with anybody. Like, could you imagine Jay-Z just working with Tekashi 69? You would, and not to say that Nicki and Jay-Z are on the same level, but like, you know what I mean? Like, the point, Nicki has worked really hard to get to the point where she's at in her career right now, and she could be very choosy. Yeah. And I saw like one, like the Barbs are just child. One of them responded to the somebody discussing this on Twitter, and they were like, well, it's $500K. If somebody offered me $500K, I'm definitely going to hop on it. And I'm just like, at this point, she has so much money that she doesn't need to do that, and she should think long term about her career.
And this is the thing also that we have to remember is that why are we spending our time talking about like, oh, if I was offered him $500K, yeah, girl. It's
we broke.
We're broke. We're basic.
Exactly.
Of course, like, if you offer me like $5, I'm probably gonna do something. You know what I'm saying? Like, bitch, do you know how much New York rent is every month?
Exactly. $500K can go a very long way.
Okay. $5 can get you a solid meal over a Subway, bitch.
It gives you what is the Philly, not the Philly cheesesteak. What are the things that you get at the bodega that like are really well known?
The Halo.
I know what you're talking about, but I can't
You know what I'm
remember.
talking about. I don't know why I can't remember it right now, but they're really good. They're like $4 at the local bodega around the corner from my house.
Okay, get you some chopped cheese.
Yes, a chopped cheese. That's what I was.
That's what
That's what I was
Okay,
talking
cool.
about. Yes, a chopped
Get you
cheese.
a chopped cheese,
You
get
know,
you
you
a-
could get a honey bun and a chopped cheese.
A whole bagel, girl.
You know?
You and your
whole
honey
bagel.
buns.
I love honey bun.
Honey bun.
You know why? You know why I love a honey bun? Because in New York City, for some reason, they're rare as fuck. They come in.
It's because you
they-
black.
Oh, maybe it's that too, but here's the thing. They come like, it's like a blue moon. Like they're there, and then it's like they're out of season. Like they stop growing the shits or something. I don't know what's happening, but
They
like,
stopped growing the honey
I have
buns.
not been able to find a honey bun for like 2 weeks. But when they come out, that's why I always want to buy in bulk, because they don't last throughout the month. And I can go to everywhere. I can go to Gristides. I can go to the local bodega. I can go to Rite Aid. I can go to Dwayne Reed, and I can't find them. So, you know, that's a really important issue. And I think that we need to get a Democratic leader in office who is really
A socialist leader.
a socialist leader who's going to come out here and get us honey buns on a regular basis. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm Baze Odu, and I approve this message. But back to Miss Onika. Yeah, I don't know what she's doing. This era is just really messy.
I feel like she's kind of scrambling to be like what's hot right now.
Mm-hmm.
And like what's hot right now is, you know, these rappers on Instagram, and like this is what's getting the attention of younger kids. And she's like, okay, like I have like a hold on like my demographic now, so let me try to like swoop down and try to get the demographic like of the younger folks. Do you know what I'm saying? But I think, and this is kind of going back to like the things that we've like regularly said when it comes to Nicki's art, is I feel like she's always so focused on maybe like what's hot right now that she's not.
Yes, the response
really
to her art.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is like, for me, it's like upsetting, because I feel like I feel like I could get it. Like, it's nothing wrong with working with a new artist. It's nothing wrong with working with an unestablished artist. It's like, if you believe in their art, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I know, I was just thinking of an example. Andre 3000 worked with, who did he work with? I forgot. He worked with some artist that was like new a few years ago, and I don't know why it's escaping me. He's a very big name. But he worked with him, and it like made sense, because it was like, okay, this guy's new, he's unestablished, but like you could see that Andre believed in his work. And
Yeah.
I can't imagine that Nicki was like, yes. Oh my God, I felt it in my spirit.
And I wonder if like that's also something that Nicki is like, she's not yet like settled into the fact that it's like, oh no, like honey, you've reached a level. You could be like someone's, you know, you could be that mentor for somebody. You could lead them forward. And it's, yeah,
I don't think
it's
she
also,
wants to be that.
I don't think she wants to be that either, which is like unfortunate, because it's like, girl, well, it's also interesting to me because if I'm correct in thinking this, like Nicki's demographic has always been these young babies, right? Like she's kind of, and I feel like, at least when I saw like why am I forgetting the name of the song? The Beyonce collaboration. What was that song?
Oh,
Feeling Myself?
Or the other
Feeling
one?
Myself. Thank you. Oh my
Okay.
gosh. But like when she did Feeling Myself, I feel like it was like, okay, she stopped trying to be the Black Lady Gaga. She, you know,
Yes.
she had, you know.
Well, you know what? I feel like, but you know what I think that was? Is like Lady Gaga stopped doing that too. You know what was interesting?
I think is that they've grown with their demographic rather.
Yeah.
But it's like I think that Nicki is trying to like
Well,
she's
Gaga
doing
didn't, but we
no,
can talk about that.
that's-
Yeah.
who cares what she does?
Joanne.
But like she does, like it's like, so she's like circling back to do things like with like Ariana Grande, and Ariana Grande has like this like
Yeah.
Disney following. I think that
Yeah.
she's trying to like maintain the same without like growing with her
Exactly.
fans.
And the thing is, like, she's getting older, and it's not like as cute now to people. Now, whether that's problematic or not is a separate discussion, but it's not as marketable because people are like, girl, like,
for me, it's not an age thing. It's more of a maturity thing. It's like when your life is this visible, and when it's like we know, like we can look up on Google and find out how much money you're making.
Yeah.
Like it's very hard for me to still believe that you have not, like, it's the whole Jennifer Lawrence thing. Honestly, it's like that whole like I'm new to this, and then like so like bright-eyed and bushy.
But I think that
only lasts so fucking long,
but
and then it becomes annoying because it's like, girl, you've done this before.
Well,
know?
I think age has a lot to do with that too, though. Like, you know, that was more believable from Jennifer Lawrence when she was 20, as opposed to when now she's 27, 28.
Yeah, I like to separate the idea of like age and maturity, because I think that there are like 30-year-olds who are like 19-year-olds, and I think there are 19-year-olds who are like 20,
Definitely.
like 25-year-olds.
But I guess what I'm saying is like just in general the way that people view them, right? So
Yeah.
like a lot of people are like, especially a lot of younger fans, and the way that I'm seeing people talking about this online is, girl, like
you're 35, like at what point are you like, because you've been doing this now for 10 years. She's been in the game for 10 years.
Dang.
You know, yeah. I remember
realize
when
it's
Nicki
been so
Minaj
long.
came out when I was in high school, and it's like people are like, okay, so now what's next? And I think that
it's, for me, it's less of like, once again, it's just her age that I have a thing with, because I think that especially for women in this industry, the fact that their age is always brought up as like a determining factor of where they should be or how they should behave is always used against them. And so for me, it's less of like, if you're 35 and you're just you're just now breaking into the business, I have very different expectations of you.
Different,
someone
yes,
who has
exactly.
been at your level
Exactly.
for 10 years, for a
Exactly.
solid decade.
Yeah.
I expect a very different level of understanding, growth, and also, like, frankly, your social media presence.
Yeah.
You know, you've been, like, it's not like you don't have a team working with you.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, the 35-year-old who's, like, just broken into the business, like, there's just a different level of expectation.
I agree.
You know?
Yeah.
So that
Well,
I think that's why I just say the age thing, because I think that it's like, age is an arbitrary number. It really doesn't mean a lot. There are 24-year-olds who have been working at this, like, I mean, when Beyonce was, and we shouldn't compare because Beyonce's
We should
Beyonce,
not, but yes.
but when Beyonce was like 16, I had very different expectations of like the kind of material that she would be producing than I would of any other 16-year-old.
But I think part of that too is like that you look at Beyonce and you actually see her work maturing.
And I think that is like but that is the thing, is that like it's about her maturity, not about her age.
True.
You know?
Yes, that is true.
The growth.
But I think
The growth.
But I guess yes, and so but that's what I'm saying with it's not necessarily right, but I think that it is as a factor in terms of like bands is that people, if they don't feel like they can grow with you and your music, then
then you're
at some point the kids are going to be like, okay, well she's like too old.
And if she was gonna, like, I mean, if you still wanted to have this young demographic, it's like, I don't know why you're approximating youngness. Like, I don't know why you're like don't like do this whole like patty cake. It's like, that doesn't make you look young. That actually makes you look older. Yeah. Because it becomes creepy. It's like, if you just learn like what young people are like, try talking to young people.
Yeah.
Just, if you want to work with young people, try talking to them.
Yeah.
Or if you want to like appeal to young people, try talking to them. Try saying, okay, so what are you interested in? What are the kids talking about these days? You know?
Yeah.
Rather than trying to be like, I'm going to approximate this idea of youngness that doesn't actually work.
Yeah.
Real.
I thank you for that word, sis. Yeah, I don't know. It's just, I mean, we've talked about this a lot already, that how sad it is to see like somebody who should be at a certain point in their career and should have like the security, and it's like all these other girls are coming up. Which also, just shout out to City Girls. I've been listening to them on repeat. They're these two rappers. They're like a rap duo, and they're from Miami. And they have me saying period all the time. Like they're like period. So I'm always saying period. But they're really good. And just also shout out to Megan Thee Stallion. Like she is. I've been listening to her album Tina Snow on repeat too.
Also, I'm mad late, but shout out to Tiana Taylor for her album.
Yes.
I mean, fuck her life, but like also like shout out to Tiana Taylor's
Work
album.
that pussy.
Get
that pussy. Work that pussy. Work
that
that pussy.
Oh my
And
God,
Sierra as well.
Yes.
What a
Level
lovely segue.
Yeah, she could have did. Yeah, I had that on the list. She could have. I think she could have done better music wise, but her dancing was phenomenal. And I have been listening to the song on repeat. Excuse me, as well. So,
but also just the message of the song.
Yeah,
and the growth, I think, as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm so happy for Sierra. Sorry, go ahead, John.
I was gonna say, she said the lyrics are really good because she said that. What did she say? She said, "I'm glad I never settled. This view is so much better."
Mm-hmm.
Like that's so real. Like just keep doing better, and like it's really motivational. I've seen like everyone make memes out of it recently. We're just like my pre-workout song or like about to get stuff done song, like getting ready song. It's just like everything, and then so it's like the mood for everybody right now, just to like level up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's very inspirational. Every time I see like somebody with a fuck nigga, I hope that Cardi B gets her level up moment, because I really think she can do so much better than Offset still. But moving right along. So we're gonna switch gears here a little bit. We're gonna talk about or warn everyone in the Bay Area about this John Lee Cowell. He attacked two black girls, two teenagers on the BART train. Stabbed them, and I think he slit one of their throats. Yeah. So
one of them is dead.
yeah. So there are two sisters, Nia Wilson, and what is her sister's name? It is not listed in this article. Yeah.
Latifah.
Latifah. Thank you. Look, come on, reading comprehension. Yeah. So Nia and Latifah Wilson were attacked, and Latifah is in the hospital right now, recovering, and Nia was killed. Police don't know what the motivation was, but of course, two black women were attacked by a white man randomly, seemingly.
Right.
Especially in the political climate that we're in right now, like, it's not hard to imagine why. But hopefully they get him, and also just everyone in the Bay Area, please be careful.
Yeah. It was really, a lot of people were really angry. I mean, justifiably so all day, but like angry this morning when we didn't get like any type of like news as to who this person was and what they look like, because the BART stations are very heavily policed, and specifically policed when people of color are involved. Like I've been at the BART station and like a fight will break out, and I literally in like 30 seconds there's like 6 cops there.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what the fuck? And the MacArthur station, the station where she was killed, Nia Wilson, is basically, it's kind of like a transfer station. So if you're gonna go from Oakland to the city, you stop there, like the BART will drop you off there, and then you'll get another BART to go into the city or whatever. So that's the station that like most of us that live in the East Bay are at, like at night, like after the weekends, like when we're coming back from the city. So it's like a super populated station, and it's just like, why wasn't there anybody there to like, as policed as people of color are in the city, and in the BART stations, like why all of a sudden was there not there when like no one there when like a black woman was stabbed.
That's
and
a good
killed.
point. Yeah,
And
I was
like,
reading, oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, just to echo that, I was reading what Kalani had posted.
Oh,
She
yeah.
was saying, like, you guys have caught people who don't pay. You guys catch people who
Yes.
graffiti. You guys catch people,
they
all
harass
kinds of people. But
they
like,
harass people of color all the fucking time. Like I've gotten tickets on on BART or on Muni, and they harass folks all the time. And so like this is the thing where it's just like, this is a big reason why nobody trusts, especially people of color, nobody trusts like law enforcement, because it's just like, you're there when you don't need to be there. You're there when like somebody can't afford a fucking like ride, $8 ride to the city, so they jump, onto the BART, and you're harassing them and you're giving them on $100 ticket. But like, where are you when we're actually in danger and something's happening? And so what is policing about? What is policing actually about? Is it about
I think
Go ahead.
Even further than that, it's not just a question of where are you, it's the fact that we know where you are. You're right there. It's that you don't care.
Right.
It's that it's not a question of why. It's not a question of where. We know all these things because the story is the same time and time again. Angry white man, angry at black women, angry at black people. Black people end up dead. Police do nothing. Somehow it's hard to find this guy, even though they have a picture and a name.
Right.
Like, meanwhile, any black man on the street will do when it comes to like, oh, there's a black person who happens to have like taken gum from the store. This is not a question of whether or why they are doing this. It's not a question of what they're doing. It's not a question. We know where they are. They are right there. And I think that we don't need to pose these as questions anymore. They have made it quite clear where they stand. And I'm like, okay, cool. Received. Got it. I know how you feel about that. I know that, I like, yeah, I have so many feelings about this, and a sense of exhaustion, and I'm so tired of feeling numb. And so sick of like constant conversations and constant just like, I mean, this is not directed at you, Renee, at all, but just saying like, just the constant questioning of like, how did this happen? How could this happen? It's like, well, it happened yesterday, and it happened the day before that, and it happened for 6 days before that. why are we
Yeah.
still having questions about this?
Yeah.
It's time to, it's just, I guess find him, get him off the
Yeah.
street, please.
Yeah, and I feel
Yeah.
like, it's pretty obvious that there would be a very different outcome, and they would have found him had the person not been a black person that was stabbed.
Mhm.
And go ahead.
And let's also talk about this. Because I think that we really need to also have a conversation about the fact that it's like, when you have a quote unquote justice system that is implemented, run, and survives through the power of people who are the embodiment of the majority of the most heinous crimes that are committed, how can you expect there to be any true like effectual actions to be taken against them? Because when the police see us, and I'm actually including many officers of color in this as well, quote unquote not all officers, but I'm including them in most of it. An organizer that I know from the People's Institute for Survival and Beyond says about cops, it's like, you may not be racist, but your uniform is, and that's good enough for me. And I couldn't agree more. And so it's like, I think that when you are trained in this system, you no longer see victims, or like victims like Nia Wilson, as your sister or as your cousin or as your best friend. You see them as disposable. You see them as items that were meant to be thrown away anyway. You see them as yesterday's trash. And when you see the evil like monsters like this, whatever his name is, you see your brother, you see your friend, you see, because generally they are. So I have lots of feelings.
Yes.
No, that's real. But yeah, it's just like, I'm not even fucking from here, but like, just, the way it has changed in the time I first got here till now, I understand why a lot of folks are like fucking angry and like really dislike it now. And it's just like, I don't know, the whole landscape has changed, and it's not, it's very clear that it's not something that is very welcoming to people of color anymore. Yeah, and it's just, it's a lot.
Okay. Any last statements on that? No? Okay. We're gonna switch gears again. Yeah, I wanted to I didn't want to end it on like a bad note, but I wanted to we had to mention that. We had to talk about that.
Yeah, of course.
So some really great news was announced at Comic-Con this past weekend. The CW Supergirl is making history by having the first trans superhero.
Hey,
so that is lit. It is, the actress is Nicole Maines. This is not her first time in the news. She was involved. She's an activist, and she was involved in getting the Maine Supreme Court to rule against God. What am I trying to say right now? To stop states from violating trans people's rights to use the bathroom that they identify with.
Nice.
Yeah. So, she was a part of HBO's The Trans List. And she was the subject of the book Becoming Nicole by Amy Ellis Nutt. I don't know if that's Newt. I don't know. Anyway,
on this show, it's not.
she was also
give me some of that Newt.
Miss Nut, if you're nasty.
Miss Nut.
Oh my god.
Daddy,
no.
give me that Newt.
Give me that Newt.
Give me that Newt.
Bitch. Anyway, so apparently she was in Royal Pains too, which I'm trying to remember what that is. I know that I've probably seen that show before, but I don't remember what that is. Royal Pains.
Okay, I
It's on the USA.
definitely said that was a Tyler Perry movie. So
No. It was not. It was on the USA Network. So they had like a lot of those, like they had Suits. Suits was on that. Excuse me, on that channel. What
superhero is she?
So she's playing Nia Nal, whose superhero name is
the Dreamer?
Dreamer, yes. So
I don't know that one.
Yeah, she's so that's gonna be really cool. Do y'all not think?
Nice. Yes.
Would you
of
not
course.
agree?
No, that's
really-
amazing.
It almost makes me want to watch Supergirl because I really don't ever like care to watch Supergirl, but I'm like, I don't know, I might have to take a gander. Yeah, I tried to watch.
I'll watch the YouTube clips.
Yes, you know what? Just have them edit down all the scenes that just
That's
have her
gonna
in them.
happen.
Yes,
Of course that's
it's
gonna
gonna
happen.
happen. You know, the internet always pushes through.
All right now.
Um,
So is she a recurring character or just
Yes.
just an appearing? Just a
it
guest?
looks like she's a recurring character.
I'm down for that.
Oh, that's from what I'm seeing.
Get the girls cast
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
get them paid.
And then I think in the same article it's saying that a Batwoman series is going to come out, and that she's going to be a lesbian because that's
Yeah.
how she is in the comics. So
Yeah,
that's exciting.
yeah.
That's amazing.
Come on, queer
Queer
representation.
women, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Also want to say that Mark saw what's the nigga's name from Aquaman?
Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa, and said he was really fine. Mark was at Comic-Con. His first time as a pro, which is really cool. But yeah, he said he saw Jason Momoa, and he said he was every bit as fine in real life as he is on TV, which doesn't surprise me in the least. But yeah,
to be Mark's eyes.
you know, honestly, I was like, is there a way that I can see through your eyes right now?
Is there a
That
way?
needs to be my quirk. If anybody watches My Hero Academia, if you don't, it's okay, you didn't get it.
Shout out to Rakeem.
Look, shout out to Rakeem, the one listener that we have that we have right now that watches anime.
Listener. The bitch is a listener now.
No, DJ will get that reference too, because DJ loves him some anime. Y'all turning me into an anime head. You know what it is? I didn't think I liked anime, but I'm finding that I just don't like certain ones.
Wait, did you like Code Geass?
Yeah, I loved Code Geass. I've been trying to watch Darling in the Franxx. I couldn't get into that. I tried to watch Naruto. Couldn't get into that.
Somebody said
Bleach. Couldn't get into that.
Darling in the Franxx. Oh, so go ahead.
What is the one that Rakeem is watching that's like white blood cells fighting things?
I don't know, but it looks good.
I haven't seen that on his Instagram, and
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of into that.
I want to see it. What were you gonna say, Renee?
Somebody told me Darling in the Franxx is just like Neon Genesis, and so you should just watch
never
Neon
s-
Genesis.
Okay. All I know is
Evangelion?
it's like the girls are all bad bitches, but they operate as like a bike, and they get in this position, and then the boys mount them and use them as a steering wheel.
Mood.
And
They were born this way.
Their fighting suits are so tight that you could see their pussy lips when they bend over.
Stop it.
I'm dead ass serious, like dead ass. Like that shit is nasty. That show is like, not that there's anything wrong with the vagina, but I just mean like it's nasty the way that they objectify women in the
Who
show.
said
And it's
anime
really
is like
upsetting.
that? There
What?
should be a discourse like that. That why like anime is like that. That's how they.
There's so misogyny, but this one was like the next level. Like, yes, all anime is like super objectifies women, but like this one in particular was just particularly egregious. Like, it was really nasty. I couldn't get into it. Like, how do you have a show?
Okay, wait.
Oh, what?
No, go.
I was just gonna say, how do you have a show with like all of these girls who like are badass and can kick all these boys' asses, and you have the boys controlling them? It makes no sense to me at all. Anyway, yeah. So shout out to 02. May they get a better writer who changes the course of that show. What were you gonna say, Renee?
Who was the name of the dude, the famous dude, that makes like all those movies that said anime was a mistake?
Oh, Studio Gilby? No.
Yeah.
Forgot what his name is, but from Studio Gilby.
Is it Gilby?
Hayao Miyazaki, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's him.
Is it
But
Gilby?
Ghibli.
Wait, what?
It's Ghibli, I think.
Oh, okay. I was like, girl, I've been saying it wrong.
it's Geely, like the J-Lo movie.
Jiggly.
Wow, I hate you.
Oh, Lord.
Wait, can we talk about Pose a little more before we go?
Yeah. What else
Yeah.
did you want to say?
Basically, I just wanted to say that I love it. I love that. But yeah, no, I just like it's just been like really cool just to watch it like every week, and like to kind of watch. Me and my friends have like watch parties, and like it's like nice to watch a show where like a lot of them can really actually relate on like several levels to a character, where it's not just like we have to kind of like really like stretch like our own experiences to relate to like some white dude on like a show or whatever. It's just like it's really something that people can connect with and are connecting over. And I do also appreciate like, and this is probably something that y'all know about me at this point, just like the found family aspect and like how I guess it's very much like, it's kind of, I don't know, it very much like is like, hey, like this group of people, even if they're not like, you know, blood relatives, they're on your team, and like whatever, they fuck up or they do this or they do that, but at the end of the day they all want the best for you, and like, you know, we're all kind of like on a team kind of thing. And like it really, I cried during the Christmas episode at the end when like they're all around like in that restaurant together and they all like were giving each other presents. That and just like at the end, just like the panning away of like them like, you know, at that restaurant, and like if you notice, you can see other like also queer families together there too. If you notice the other tables.
Wow.
And also there's one table where it's just like a man and he looks like he's alone and he's like sad. And it's just like, and it brings up not only just like what the holidays and what families are like for queer folks, but also specifically at that time, like a lot of your family was disappearing.
Yeah.
And
so what's that?
No, I was gonna say, and this is gonna be silly, but like shout out to Chinese restaurants for being open on Christmas, because they're the only people open on Christmas, and so they got to have that scene there. You know what I mean?
But yeah, so yeah, it just I think it's just really beautiful. Just because I can't really think of like another show that really emphasizes like how important found family is for queer folks, and it's just something that I'm super grateful for. Did you have some more stuff to say, Baith?
I just thought, like, I mean, I agree with you, and I said that a lot of that last week too. Yeah, I thought like it was really cool that they showed the way that sometimes your blood family, because I feel like, you know, Mother's Day and Father's Day comes around, and and when people hear that you don't like talk to your family, now I do talk to my family, like, and I'm in a much better place with them, but you know, the way that people are kind of disapproving when you talk about negatively about your parents, your mom, your dad. And I love the way that the show talks about the fact that, you know, a lot of our families are toxic in a way. And sometimes the people that end up having the best interest. Oh my God. Sorry, my neighbor. Y'all probably can't even hear this. I don't even know why I acknowledge that. Once the condenser mic filters all that shit out.
I can hear it.
No, I mean like the listeners.
Oh, okay. Say. Just kidding.
Yeah, or maybe you will. I don't know. Sorry if you can. We still pour and recording in my apartment. But yeah, like just the fact that they show that you're sometimes the worst enemy that you can have is the people you're related to, and sometimes the people that are really gonna save you are the people you just met. You know, sometimes they're the people that maybe you only known a week or a month or even a year. You know what I mean? It's not always the people you knew the longest. Right. So I thought that was really great. I just really appreciated that, and it really makes me, I'm really conscious of that when I'm around my friends now, because I'm like, oh shit, like, you know, this is that. Like, here I am with my found family, and we're just like enjoying each other's company and having a good time. And, and nobody else is doing that on television, I don't feel, or at least I haven't seen it. Right. And it's also like, I mean, I said this last week, but I can't say it enough. Like the fact that there's like a gay relationship between two black men is like unbelievable to me, because I mean, again, I said it last week, so I don't need to repeat myself, but for many reasons that I've already spoken about, it's just powerful. And like, I think so the last like black character, like stable black character that I saw that was gay on TV, and it was Lafayette from...
Did you watch Noah's Ark?
I didn't. Oh my God, I need to watch.
You need to watch Noah's Ark. But yeah, shout out to Lafayette.
And then he got his man, but his man was super light skinned and had like blue eyes. He was Latino, but he was
I mean, Noah's Ark is actually like the first, I think, portrayal of black queer love. Like, shout out to Patrick Ian Polk, who created that series, and Daryl Stevens and all the other actors on that show. But but this is definitely but that show, like you said last week, like this is a show that lived on logo. It was a show that was, given 2 seasons and a movie, like most queer shows are. But this is a really different moment, and something I actually wanted to shout out. And I mean, this is, pardon me for what I'm about to do, but I really do want to name people in the show, because I think that something that's beautiful about watching Pose is the fact that that this show is cast in the community, shout out, and these are some of them are characters that you don't even realize that you're seeing. Like, shout out to Devin Norell, shout out to Laith Ashley, shout out to Jamal Lewis, shout out to B Hawk, shout out to who am I thinking of? There's someone else I know. Oh, shout out to Yari Jones. These are all and some of them are at different levels of their career, but these are up and coming girls. These are up and coming folks,
Right.
I mean, it's particularly amazing for me because I Ryan Jamal Swain was someone that I literally went to high school with in Birmingham, Alabama, at the Alabama School of Fine Arts. We were in school together, and he was the grade below me, and so to see him on screen is so incredible, to be actually seeing, to see MJ, to see India, to see all these people who it's I've either met through working in this city or met through just living my life as a Black queer person, has just been so joyful. And I just really want to shout that out, because there are lots of shows where it's people are kind of picked as the exceptions, and when they become that exception, me and Janet Mock, shout out to my girl, talks about it in Redefining Realness. Being exceptional is not revolutionary, it's lonely. And I think I've requoted that 17,000 times, but it's I think that's what's so beautiful about this show, and why the aspect of found family is so real, because the show is not approaching this work through the idea that this is the exception. It's coming from, this is our world, this is our rule, and so I just shout out to really actually giving trans people jobs.
Right.
Yeah.
No, did you?
I think that Janet said 268. There's some crazy huge number of trans people who have both worked on the show and been in it. So they're creating jobs for people.
Yeah, my friend, so one of the friends that I watch it with used to live in New York and was working in sexual health in New York, and every couple episodes she'll be like, oh my god, I know her, she recognizes these people, and she's like, oh, I've hung out with her, or I did work with her, or whatever. And it's just it feels very community based.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Sweet.
Oh,
And it makes you wonder why this hadn't happened before. I mean, you know why, but it's just also this is it's so tangible now that it's why hasn't this always been the case?
Exactly.
Did I just wanted to add to that list that Ian had said. Did you see that Naomi Maldonado was in the show? She's the Superwoman of Vogue.
Oh, no way! Of course.
Yeah, and she was there. And then, have you guys seen that movie? Shoot, now I'm forgetting the name of it. It was in Outfest last year, and it was also a movie about voguing, or the ballroom scene.
Was it Kiki?
Yes, Kiki. Thank you. And then the main guy that they were following her on Kiki was in the show as well. I forgot what his name was, but I think it's he's from the House of Garcon or something. But he was in that movie too, and it was really cool to see them like what Ian was saying is that actual people from the community are being hired to be in this show about them. They're
Yeah.
so.
No, that's great. Yeah.
I also want to say, if you are watching Pose, you should also be watching My House.
Yes.
The documentary that's going on right now on what network is
It's
it on?
Viceland, isn't it?
Thank you. It's on Viceland, and it's following if Pose is talking about where Vogue was, this is talking about what Vogue is happening right now. And it's really, really wonderful. I went to a screening at the Brooklyn Museum, and it's just it's amazing. Amazing show.
So good.
Please go and support it. And they need to have a second season, so hit Viceland up and say they need a second season.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, that was lit. So, any last thoughts? Did anybody have any other topics that they wanted to talk about real quick? No?
I'm good.
Yeah? All right. Well,
It's been real cute. It's been real pretty. But we're going to be back with the Dix Kios. Yeah. We'll be back with that.
All right.
BRB.
And we are back with the discuss. This week we have Ianne. And Miss Ianne is going to talk about their life, the magic that makes them.
Thank you, darling.
So yes, okay. So basically, yes, we briefly spoke about it in the break. We're just gonna. This is just in conversation with Ianne. Ianne rhymes. Wait, Renee made that joke earlier, so I can't claim that.
Sorry,
but
I'm also making that Shonda rhymes for myself. So
yes.
Oh.
But yeah, so my first question is, and you guys can feel free to jump in after this. My first question to you, Ianne, is, I just love your name so much. Like, that's such a pretty name, Ianne. Like,
thanks, darling.
where'd you get it from? That's not my first question. But,
oh, really?
Yeah, but but
no,
yes,
actually, well, it's kind of a wild story. So I went back home. And whenever I go back to Birmingham, I always like fly into Atlanta, and then my mom will pick me up and we'll drive back into Birmingham because it's cheaper and it's not too long a drive, and then we get to have like a little road trip together. It's nice.
Oh, that's nice.
So always on these road trips, we always have like very deep talks and talk about a lot of stuff and everything from like systemic racism to you know, her own navigation as a white woman through the world. And I'm adopted by white people, just so you know. But as we were talking, I kind of was saying to her, I'm thinking of changing my name, and but before I did that, I wanted to talk to you so that you could rename me with me. And so we actually came up with the name together. Okay. And so I had claimed that name, and she said, let me know when you want that to be, you know, what we're talking about. You know, I was like, okay. And I went, and then when I came back into town, pretty soon after that, I had to go to the Camille Brown and Dancers annual celebration as part of my work. And while I was there, we were having this, you know, Camille Brown and Dancers is an amazing company run by Camille Brown, who's an amazing Black female choreographer. And while we were there, one of the kind of keynote speaker was doing things very differently. And so it was more of like a workshop that we were doing together. And there was this older woman, this elder, who I saw, you know, getting up out of her wheelchair. And so I just, you know, went up to her as I was passing by and held her hand and helped her get up. And we ended up being partnered together. And during the exercise, we were supposed to look into each other's eyes for a solid minute and then to share our names with each other. And she told me, you know, okay, well, my first name means she who walks with lions. And then my last name means she who has all her own. No, I think it's, sorry. Her first name means she who has all her own things. Her last name means she who walks with lions. And I was like, well, that's a name. And so I was just moved to kind of give her the name that I had chosen with my mother. And I had not decided whether I was going to let people know just yet or not. And to make a long story short, it ended up being Nisake Shange. And I didn't realize that it was her, but she's the woman who wrote For Colored Girls, who considered suicide. Okay. So the first person I shared my name with was the writer of For Colored Girls. Wow. And so that moment was just so, like, and then as a group, like, once we kind of collectively realized who she was, we just knelt at her feet and like praised her. Literally all came together, like calling the ancestors. And it was just such like a spiritual and powerful moment that I was like, okay, so I need to make this public, you know. But that's how it came about my name.
So sorry, that was like a cheat question. I didn't intend for that to be my first question. So my first question is actually, so I've heard John talk a little bit about this, and I definitely read, you know, Janet Mock talking about this and redefining realness. They have spoken about people making them realize who they were, like that person that made them realize who they could be, what their possibilities were. As trans people, who was that for you? Or do you have that person?
As all of the trans people that I am. No, kidding. as all the trans people. No. I mean, Janet, honestly. Really? I think that it's interesting because for me, stepping into queerness and into transness, I've never really had like a coming out experience. Or like I've had coming out moments, I guess, but I wouldn't really think of them in that way. But I think that when the first time that I experienced redefining realness, I actually, I've been meaning to buy the book, and and then it just became easier to buy the audiobook. And so I literally remember the night that I first
Did she read it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
She reads both of her audiobooks, and you need to have. And so I actually don't own a copy of Redefining Real, a physical version.
Really?
I just have the audiobook. And so I just remember like the first time that I was like, I think I was going to like Domain Read or something. Or I was doing something, some kind of chore.
You were in the city?
Mhm, yeah. I was
Oh,
in
you
the
were
city.
living here. Okay.
Yeah. And I think that was the first moment when I was like, this is something that I'm seriously aligned with. You know, I mean, before that, I had already started using they pronouns, and I was calling myself gender nonconforming. So I still was under the umbrella of transness, and I knew that. But like when I think I really, a moment, I guess, of someone being that something for me was Janet Mock's audiobook, and like hearing it was because it's like she herself was telling me about, and she was actually one of the first people. I met her, like, it's like I came to New York, and then I think like 2 or 3 weeks later I met her in person, and it was like this incredible moment. So it was just like, so she, I think, has just been someone that I've always been so aligned with and so just like clear about.
So you never felt like there was never one person that like made you feel like you could even identify as non-binary? There was no like moment?
Not that I remember. I mean, I think that like the moment I think that I really stepped into non-binary as an identity, or at least I was introduced to it, was the first moment that I realized that the first kind of experience I had in activism, which was after my sophomore year. I went to a school and got my BFA in musical theater, and 2 years into that program, I just was looking around and I realized, you don't know what to do with me. I'm a black queer body, and I'm visibly femme and I'm visibly queer, even if I don't have language for what that is yet. Like I'm just so visible, and you don't know how to handle that visibility, because I think so much in theater training we try to teach people, like I talk about this a lot, of like the dangers in theater training of trying to make people a blank slate. There's this idea that you want to walk into an interview or an audition with a blank slate that they can paint the character on, and the danger of that is that my body has never been a blank slate. That narrative only belongs to cis white men. Those are the only blank slates who exist, because white cis women cannot walk into a room and be a blank slate. And then so on and so forth as it goes down. And once you get to a black queer femme body like mine, there was no way for me to be a blank slate. So I went back home to Birmingham, Alabama. And while I was there, I met this incredible woman named Sarah Young, who I later co-authored an academic article with, and it was published and all that stuff. But she changed. I say all that to say that she changed the trajectory of my life in so many ways. And so we worked together with another a group of queer folks, and went around Alabama collecting the narratives of various queer identified youth to kind of create a network amongst them. And so this was my first time really with like a grassroots movement or a grassroots moment or any kind of organizing around that. And so I think that was also the first time that I met people who were using they, them pronouns and what that meant. And so I think that was kind of the first time that language became available to me. Okay.
And I guess, I mean, that just goes to show, and I'm not saying this to you because clearly you know this, but to the listeners who are not of the trans experience, that's why it's so important to hear these stories, because obviously everyone has their own narrative. Because
I think that I think that we as queer people, whether it be about your sexual orientation or about your identity, I think that we feel it before we can name it. And I think that that's why I think that storytelling is so important, because it provides a name for things. I think that once something is named, you can claim it. You can place it in your body. You can make it part of your whole being, you know? Someone is definitely going to take that out of context and make it whole being, but whatever.
All right, y'all got any questions?
Well, Base stole my question about who was your non-binary. No,
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. You didn't know. Then my other question was, what is your advice for someone who wants to be more femme presenting but was not born in a woman's body?
I think that my advice to anyone, regardless of, I mean, I can definitely speak. My advice to anyone is to find your femme and step up in that, because your femme is going to be different than every person's. You're not going to have it. Like, my femme is different than other people's femmes. And I think that the beauty of femininity is that it is a much more fluid and flexible space than I think that masculinity is. And that's why I celebrate and live in it so much. I made an announcement about, you know, beginning a journey that will make me go through a second puberty, and people had a lot of questions about, oh, so you're now using she pronouns, you identify as a woman now. Excuse me. And my reaction to that is that no, I still identify as non-binary. I still don't claim any one particular gender, but the way that I have thought of my body has always been in an hourglass shape. Since I was young, whenever I would imagine my body, that was how I saw my body. And so I'm undergoing, you know, a process and going on a journey to find the body I've always imagined. And so that's what that is for me. And some people may call that a woman's body, right? But I don't call that a woman's body. I don't call my body a woman's body. Not because I have any shame, not because I have any questions about who I am or what my body possesses, but because my femininity and my femininity is something that I claim that makes me stronger and that is truthful. So I just claim my truth. So I guess that I'm terrible at speaking in short sentences, but I guess that would be my advice to someone who wants to claim femininity.
That's great. No, I secretly, not so secretly, was asking that question for me too, but for also because I know there's other people.
I secretly, not so secretly knew that.
I mean, I didn't say this before I asked the question, but Ianne, you're one of my inspirations, and so I really like that answer about finding your femme, because I'm still finding mine, and I really appreciate that answer a lot.
And I've been loving watching your journey, honey.
Thank you.
I'm gonna spill a little bit of tea here and say that John is actually the first person that I ever told that I was going to be starting my journey, and John was the person who helped me start that out. So
I'm so proud of you, and I was crying when you told me.
I called John, and I was like, "Oh well, I just had my first appointment," and John was very sweet and started crying.
Yeah, you did that. You had to do that to me right before work. I was just checking in. I was like, "How are you doing?" And then you called me, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
No.
Renata.
I don't know if I have any questions. I just am really just kind of, yeah. I don't know. I'm a little.
Damn, I forgot mine.
I'm a little frozen in my astonishment
Oh my god.
of Ianne.
Oh.
What's that? Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I have so many questions and I had it and then it's gone. Okay, yes. So, a white mother, you say?
Yeah. No, let's talk about her. Let's talk about her.
What was?
Because white people are trash. Let's
So-
talk about her.
Okay, so I find, and just in general, in my experience, mixed and not necessarily adopted, I guess, because I don't really have an extensive experience with adopted transracial adoptees, obviously, other than Mark. But in my experience with mixed kids with white mothers, there's a lot of disconnect in general. Obviously, I have a really good friend who listens to the show, and they are not that way. But there's a lot of coonish behavior that that goes into that. And I'm curious. Obviously, you can't say that never affected you in any way, but how did you combat that growing up? And how did you come into being who you are?
My community are the people who determine whether or not I am acting like a coon, but I do not believe myself to be a coon.
No, you have not exhibited coonish behavior.
Good, excellent. The coon did not jump out.
It did not jump out. It stayed in.
I think that the truth of the matter is that my mother, from my early age, really just from the beginning, my mother was honest with me. She said, "You are adopted." She said, "You are black." She said, "I don't know what black is, but I'm going to do my best to encourage you to find out what that is for yourself." So my mother introduced me to Sweet Honey in the Rock, which is a civil rights singing group. She took me to see them. She introduced me, whenever there was an African exhibit that would come into town, she would, take me to that. Growing up, I had a lot of books that featured people that looked like me. I remember particularly there was a story of Rapunzel, but it was an African Rapunzel, and so like she had like these like micro braids that were her hair that she would let down, and so there were always images that she would, you know, when she saw things, she would try to give them to me. And it's interesting also that and I think that this is a commentary on like the toxicity of whiteness, right? Is that she felt more at ease, I think, she felt it more accessible to give me things that came from like Africa directly than the things that came from African American culture.
Yes.
And so I think that growing up, I always felt very connected with people that looked like me, but I didn't have access to the African American community as much because I wasn't raised, and so I didn't there were a lot of things that I didn't know and struggled with. But the truth is that I loved my skin. I loved the skin of others. My mother has always said, white people age so terribly, Ianne. Why do they do that? I'm like, I don't know, Mom. I don't know. You know? And I think that since, you know, moving into organizing and activist spaces, my mother tells me, you know, you're my best friend and you're also my greatest teacher. Because now we are in a new dynamic in which I am like talking to her about whiteness and about white people. And when she fucks up, I tell her that she's fucking up. And I've been really impressed to see her. She's actually an environmental justice organizer, or she works in environmental justice. And so she is an executive director of a nonprofit that protects Alabama's #1 drinking water source, the Cahaba River. And she's also on the board of the largest national like river protecting organization. And she credits this to me, so I'm not like taking this from her, but she credits this to me of like she says that because of our conversations, she was nominated to the position of being sort of their diversity person and talking about race, and she's done really incredible things to activate other white people, and you know, and also make very intentional space for people of color in a field that is dominated by white folks. So I think that it honestly comes down to having a mother who was willing to first name her own whiteness, and then to name my blackness, because I think that many white parents who adopt black children for fear of their own lack of knowledge, or for fear of fucking their kids up, or for fear of whatever it is, their own uncomfortability supersedes their child's needs. And so they attempt, in their attempt to save their children from this blackness that they know is so dangerous, because white people know it's dangerous to be black in this society, they try to wrap their children in their own whiteness. And I think that is why we see so much behavior like this coming from some mixed race and some adopted black folks. Is because their parents have not been able to truly face the idea that they have a black child who is endangered just by walking out the door. But my mother was raised in Birmingham, Alabama during the civil rights movement. She knew, you know, and also I'm going to call my family out. She was raised in a home that had a maid, you know, a black maid all her life, you know, and I knew this maid. Like this woman is still like a friend of a quote unquote friend of the family, you know? And so it is a very different experience. And this is also why I talk about being in the South, right? Sorry, I don't know how to answer to anything in short sentences.
No, go for it.
But this is also why I talk about living in the South, is because people like to talk about the South as like this, like dangerous, awful place. And it's just so much worse than the rest of the country. And it's a reminder to all of us that racism is not a regional prejudice, but an international epidemic. And living in Birmingham, Alabama, and going to high school 2 blocks from where Martin Luther King wrote his letter from Birmingham jail, it is impossible to deny racism. It is impossible to deny that my skin has meaning when I walk out the door, more meaning than my mother's. And so I think that she just never tried to deny that.
Okay, well, that was definitely an answer. Damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can I ask another question?
Yeah, go for it.
Absolutely.
So since you mentioned your journey, it's sort of a similar question to the question I asked earlier. Once someone has found their femme and decides to go this route, what sort of advice would you have for someone who wants to start it but doesn't know how to?
I'm thinking. I think that first, make sure that you know what your boundaries are. I think also knowing what you want to call things.
Mhm.
I don't discuss. I'm very even amongst other trans folks. I'm very cautious about discussing my body parts, or even just naming specifically what I am taking, or even that I'm taking anything, right? Because I think that there is something about this journey that feels very personal to me, and I want it to remain as such. I think that you and I have had this conversation as well, which is that, like, I was like, John was like also one of the first people I just started talking about this with. And I think that I FaceTime called you probably a little too much then, but like,
No,
but I just
great, it's
needed,
great.
I needed someone to talk to about this. And so
Right.
and so I think that my boundary for me was that it's like I experience every day the public opinion that my body is for consumption and for commodity.
Mhm.
And I think that, and for commentary. And so I think that for me, when I talked about publicly about what, about this new part of my life, this new part of my journey, I was very specific about how I was wording things, because to me, that was how I kept it my own, and didn't allow it to be taken from me, as so many other things have happened. So I think that it's about, I can't, as far as like the specifics of like what will happen to your body, every person's body is going to react differently. But I think that take the time to really figure out what your boundaries are, because cis people are going to be, extra fascinated with you and want to have, more conversations about like, oh, so what's going on? And it's important that you are always ready to say, no, I don't want to talk about that, or yes, I will talk about that. I think that's
Right.
the best advice that I can give, really.
No, and sorry, I apologize. I should have like asked what the limits were in that question.
Oh, no. I'm very capable of establishing my own boundaries.
Right. But I was asking because, again, not so secretly, is this for me and also for other listeners who are sort of in the same boat as, where do I start? How do I do this? And
also for listeners, or John, I think that fear is a natural, important, and instinctual part of our beings. Fear can protect us, fear can keep us safe, and fear can also get in our way, and fear can also claim parts of us that we do not wish it to claim. And so I think that always recognize and acknowledge your fears, name them for yourself, but also name when they have taken over, and name when they have gone too far, and and tell them to go away, because their time is not now. It's your time and your time only.
Yes.
Reclaim your time.
Fuck.
Yes. Reverend.
Yes. Oh, did you have a question, Renee?
I have 2 questions.
Oh, go ahead.
So my first is, what is your funniest memory with bass? And my second is, what moment do you feel like you had when you realized how important found family was to you?
Oh, good questions. My funniest memory with bass. Do you know it? Okay, this is not going to sound like a funny story, but it's actually like one of my fondest stories, my funniest memories with bass.
I think I know what you're going to talk about, but go ahead. Let me see.
Can I talk about it?
Let me see. No, go ahead.
Okay,
I'm fine with it.
Because Baze and I have a lot of fun together in general. This last time that we were at Poppy Juice, Baze captured quite a bit of the fun that I was having at Poppy Juice.
Oh, yes.
Chow Wu. I got a little
on a back.
Yes.
Man.
I saw that too.
Yes. The Africa jumped out.
The African jumped out. Yes, it's true. But I think my fondest memory with Baze, because I think it's a moment when I got to see a new side of Baze that was really exciting to see, was actually we were all walking together after having dinner with the lovely Mark, and I was on my way.
Shout out to Kirk, who we were
Shout out to
also
Kirk,
with,
we were-
because I already
we
knew you were
also
going to tell this story.
Yes, because I was so shook. 'Cause I think that like the episode after or something, it got lost on because I was waiting for you to talk about it. But anyway, but this is my fondest memory is that we were all walking together and we
Union Square.
We got to Union Square and we saw this man accosting his girlfriend. It was clearly a domestic abuse situation, and we all to make a long story short, we intervened. He pulled a knife on this girl, and we intervened and talked her down, like communicated with her, and ended up spending this is a 2 hours story, but like we ended up walking him to the hospital. And I think that what I liked about that moment so much was that I saw a new side of Kirk, I saw a new side of Baze, and I saw them really step up. And I also I think I felt very safe with them. I think that, it made me very conscious of like, all right, it's good to have some brolic niggas around. Okay, good. Like, you need some niggas who got gym memberships around you at times, but what I love about it, and I think that this is why, and ever since then, it's made me, every time that Baze talks about being like, I always get too mad or too this. It's like, I really reflect, I always am brought back to this because in that moment, what I really saw Baze step into was a protector, was a lover, not in a romantic sense, but a lover in like Baze is like this in general, but Baze is constantly checking in with me whenever we go out. He's always on the alert. And so I don't think that Baze is angry. I think that Baze is passionate. I think that Baze is protective. I think that Baze has his eyes out for the people that he loves. And if Baze is getting angry, it is for a right reason. I think that there are people who are unjustly angry. I think that Baze just has common sense. And I think that Baze is punished for that because he is a dark-skinned gay black man in this country. And so I do not approve of Baze being called angry, but Baze can use whatever words he likes. But I think that in that moment, watching Baze both step up and say, no, I'm going to take this 2 hours to really talk this guy down. We're going to walk with him. I'm going to make sure that Ianne feels comfortable and safe, because I was definitely all of my organizing and activism came out and I was just going right in, and Baze was like, you good, boo? Like, wait a minute, And I think that, that takes a level of courage. It takes a level of strength. It takes a level of character that you don't really get to see. And it's just beautiful that you get to see those moments happen in something like that. So it's not necessarily a funny memory, although there are a lot of funny things that happened.
There were some very funny
moments that happened.
That are probably not funny when you tell it,
probably
but
not.
It was funny in the moment.
we all were cracking up.
Yeah.
And so it actually kind of was a fun memory in many ways.
Yeah.
It's like for the listeners, I got the girl's number. I contacted her afterwards, contacted her the next day. I contacted her a week later. And then actually then it was a couple months later, I reached out to her again just to check in.
Oh, did you? How's she?
Yeah, she's fine. She's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
Are they still together?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
We saw his body. We know why.
Yeah, there was a moment where we were just like, why is she putting up with this? Why is she putting up with this? And then we took him to the hospital and he took his shirt off and we were like, oh.
Stop.
Cool.
Stop.
I'm like, okay.
And we were like, the dick is probably really button. No, I mean, there's probably other factors. Clearly,
Of course,
we're
yeah.
slightly problematic here. But I just mean that
Dick
there was
too
a
bomb.
moment where we all kind of just laughed with each other
We
because
all instantly knew, because we walked out and then we walked away and we were like, so you were thinking that too?
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, because you know what it was? It was such a highly charged night. And we were worried. When he brought that knife out, I was ready to start fighting him. I was about to, and then I was like, wait, that's not the right reaction to this situation. I got to think about this more clearly. And I think that night was so tense initially that when we were able to really, those moments when we were able to laugh and relax, we kind of could just do that.
Yeah.
It was comic relief almost, like a tension.
Yeah, I mean, dark humor and trauma.
Yeah,
these things
real.
go together.
Real.
Well, and I think that's also a beautiful thing about Black folks is that in the face of trauma, I mean, I think I'm gonna just say Black folks because that's what I know.
Yeah.
But I think that it's really amazing to watch. I'm currently doing a teaching artist residency at Rikers Island with working with incarcerated women and creating theater, women and girls, and specifically today, actually, just watching them, discuss trauma and discuss their, the system and their situations and the way that they were using laughter It just was like, wow, this is something we do, you know?
There was,
So, yeah.
sorry, there was like this point. So he kept threatening people. And there was a point where he was like, I'm gonna cause he had gotten jumped. That's why he was mad. And he had thought that his girlfriend left with the guys that had jumped him. So he was really disoriented. He was really drunk. He was really fucked up, and he had gotten beat up as well. So he was like, I'm gonna kill those niggas. I'm gonna kill those niggas. I'm gonna murder them niggas. Da-da-da-da. We were like, no, we're not gonna kill anybody. We were like talking to him like he was 3. We were like, we're not gonna kill anybody. We're not doing that. We're turning our lives around. We're gonna not respond violently. We're gonna just move on with our lives. And we got into the hospital waiting room, the emergency room, and he was like at the desk.
Well, and he would say things like we would get him to a point where he was like, wow,
yeah,
man, nigga, that's really smart.
He was like, that's so deep. Y'all so cool.
Y'all so cool. You're so great. You're so deep. And we were like, we finally got through to him. And then
we were in the waiting room or whatever, and he was like at the desk, and his girlfriend was like explaining what was wrong with him to the receptionist. And he was just going off again, like, oh, I'm gonna kill them niggas. I'm gonna kill them niggas.
In front
and we
of
started,
like people who were like connected.
There were cops in the hospital,
like, right there. And he's just like, I'm gonna kill these niggas.
So we were laughing because it was just like we literally just had this conversation, and you had stepped back away from this viewpoint, and now you're here again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, that's why I said it's not maybe as funny to like people hearing this is probably a little bit more concerning, but to us in that moment it was funny.
It's hilarious.
Your
second question, Renee, was about something about
family.
Yeah.
When did you realize it was important?
Yeah, or the moment, or a moment that you feel like, you realize the importance.
Ooh.
And you almost already answered that with the first one, but if you want to talk about another one, that would be cool too.
Yeah. I'm so bad at like specific moments. I think I'm much better at like describing my like feelings about things.
Sure.
But I think I think that the first while I do celebrate the South, I also recognize that I always say I love Birmingham, but I don't love Alabama. And so I talk about the kind of the there's a reality to living in a conservative red state that is historically red and historically racist. And so like growing up, like my earliest years are filled, like I have very few memories of like my early years of becoming because of trauma, both like, early childhood sexual abuse and like to give a context, like before my 3rd grade year of school, during the summer, 3 boys tried to drown me in a public pool. And that was like how I started like my 3rd through 5th grade years. And those years are filled with traumas and so like my early, I didn't really have friends. I had a lot of people who, literally would tell me that they were just becoming my friends so they would share my business with them and they could share it with everyone else, and like weird stuff that people would do that was just very manipulative. And so it wasn't until I went to until it wasn't until 6th grade actually when I made my first friend. And I think that and then also actually I think so that starting there, my first friend being a white Jewish girl named Kelly Olshan. And then going into 7th grade year when I started at the Alabama School of Fine Arts. And I think that's actually now that I'm thinking about it, that's probably where I found family. ASFA is a magnet school. We did art we did our art, different degrees of like theater, dance, music, creative writing, math and science, and visual arts. And we all like practiced our art, studied it 3 hours a day, every day of school. And to be in that community, it just has a magic all of its own. And I think that was where I really found the importance of found family, because my mom talks about this too. She was like, she realized, your entire life, you just wanted to be a leader. You were ready to be a leader. I'm a triple Leo. Like, it's just in me, like it has to come out, And so I think that found family was where I found myself. Found family was where I was able to step into leadership because there were those who believed that I was worthy of following. There were those who believed that I was worthy of being listened to. And
wow,
I'm a very hard worker. I do a lot of stuff all at once. And so I think that found family was I owe my work and the dedication I have to my work to found family, because they told me that I was worthy of doing it. That I was that my worth was great enough to achieve my dreams.
Wow.
Aww.
Yeah.
I have a question that I've been dying to ask. So we talk a lot about like quote unquote wokeness and like the like litmus test for what's woke and what isn't. And so you're an activist, an actorvist.
Actorvist. Yes.
You know, you like let's brag on you for a minute. You got accepted into. I always brag about this program, and I always forget what it is called. But you got accepted into the program that very few people in the U.S. got to be a part of, and you went to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that before I ask my question.
I will do. There's something happening this Wednesday. So
Ooh.
yeah. So Humanity in Action is an international activism group or organization that brings that has fellowships around. It has a Detroit fellowship and an Atlanta fellowship, and then several fellowships throughout Europe. So the Atlanta fellowship focuses on the civil rights movement and restorative justice, and brings together 15 fellows from the U.S. and then 15 fellows from Europe. There in the U.S., there were 200 applicants my year, and I was one of the 15 chosen for this program. So we spent a month in Atlanta. It's called the John Lewis Fellowship, and we met John Lewis.
Which is awesome. I wish. I'm so jealous.
He's amazing. Met John Lewis. Spent time with all of these incredible organizers. Dr. Rosalind Pope, who was the woman who was with us the most, and she authored the student the appeal for human rights that was written in the 60s during kind of like the student sit-ins, when all of the HBCU leaders kind of brought students together to go and do sit-ins at various restaurants and institutions.
Wow.
And this program was so amazing and changed my life in so many ways. But so out of this program, each of us is expected to, after we're done studying, then develop an action project. And this action project is meant to kind of, reflect what we've learned and things like that. And so I had proposed one and I was excited about it, but, my schedule caught up with me. And so I was, halfway through the fall, and I was like, oh, I should probably think about that now. And at the time, I still am, I work with Vibe Theater Experience as a teaching artist, and I was working with a group of girls in our Vibe Stages program. And I'm going to try to make this story short, but it requires quite a bit of length to it. No pun intended. But while I was at HIA, I learned about the Girls of the Leesburg Stockade. And the Girls of the Leesburg Stockade are 19 African-American girls who in 1963 were protesting for the integration of movie theaters. At the time, during this time, they were abducted by the police. They were taken to Americus, Georgia, and then finally Leesburg, Georgia, 60 miles outside of where they were, away from their parents, and their parents did not know where they were. They were placed in this stockade, which is like essentially this concrete block. And they were kept there with no running water for bathroom facilities, including showers or a toilet. They were given mostly raw hamburgers as meals. And they were there for 2 months.
Wow. What the fuck?
They were finally freed when John Lewis actually sent a white photographer to snap shots of the girls in the stockade, and when it became public, then they were finally freed. And actually, while we were at HIA, we went and saw the stockade, met the women themselves, and heard their story. And the crazy thing was also that one of the girls was pregnant and didn't know it. And her son was there for the first time with us that day. This adult man with his children took them to see the stockade. So I shared this story with the girls of Vibe Stages coming back to the fall last year. And the girls were really inspired by the story. And when it came time, they've been, part of our work is that it's an uncensored space in which these young Black girls are generating their own writing, their own ideas. And when it came time to decide, what are you going to do for your show? How are you going to take this writing and make it into a show? They said they were really drawn to this story. And so they actually created the show in the format of a day in the life of these girls. So we've developed a play that starts at 12 a.m. and goes to 12 a.m. the next day, and then ends with a piece of all of their monologues of Black girl magic. And at each hour of the day, they have a different scene or a different monologue or different idea that they're sharing. this play it was filmed. We sent it to the director of HIA. She sent it to the women. They loved it. And so we performed it this morning for a group. And then the next time we will be performing it is in Atlanta, Georgia, this Friday. They will be flying us out to meet the women, go to the stockade itself, and perform the show in Atlanta. So we're really, really excited to be able to have these young women. For one of our young girls, it's the first time that she's getting on a plane. We're so excited to be able to bring these young women to Atlanta, Georgia, to share this story, because the women themselves were nominated for the Presidential Medal of Freedom, and they're fighting for that because they've never really been recognized.
Yeah, I had never heard that story.
This story is not widely known, and so it's really important that people know about it, and I'm so proud of these girls for being a part of that. Yeah. I think you had an
so
question.
I did. I have two questions, but I don't remember the second one. But hopefully, I'll remember it by the time you answer this one.
You probably won't know how I talk.
So the first question I had was, how do you find that balance between, because you can't be on all the time, right? How do you find like the time to just relax and enjoy? Can you do that, or do you?
Yeah, I find that. Truthfully, and this is like my problematic thing that I'm gonna admit, is that like I find that watching like shows that about people that I don't care about, like shows that in which white people pretend to have problems, like
I'm listening.
Gilmore
I'm just
Girls.
writing down my questions.
No, like Gilmore Girls or like Friends or something like that. I don't really do Friends anymore, but like I think that like television is kind of how I do that for myself. I think also I am, and this is actually where I really connect with you, Renee, is that I think that I am equally as committed to my career as I am to my friends. And my friends are incredibly important to me. I found family. And so I often am completely overwhelmed but it's because I've also filled my time that's quote unquote free time with friends. With catching up with people, with reaching out to folks. And so, and that is incredibly important for me. I will change meetings. I will, because my friends are equally as important to me. Yeah. That's really important. In maintaining that balance, and I'm, like I said, I'm a triple Leo. I'm an extrovert. I love energy. And so I can do that. I definitely need my time alone as well. But I think that for me, making space in my schedule is when I make space for people. I don't do well with like sitting still too long. Home is not really a place. It's kind of like where I lay my hat. Yeah. That's my home. Home is kind of a place that I go to in the middle of, like, to either answer emails, sleep, eat, or,
interesting.
Go somewhere else. So I think that friendship is how I like fuel myself.
Oh.
Okay. And then question number 2 is, so this is actually a question from me. It's some advice, actually.
Okay. Yeah. I'm giving out advice. Who said that was okay? Okay, keep going.
You're my licensed therapist right now.
Amazing. Okay, great.
No,
I will be charging $50 an hour. Okay.
Okay, so today I had like an epiphany about the way that I interact with people, especially like, say, like straight men or like white people, especially. And I realized I have a chip on my shoulder. And yes, we've spoken about having a chip on your shoulder and what that means for people of color. But I noticed that like I preemptively, I don't want to say like out and out reject people, but I noticed that I project like what I suspect this person is feeling about me before I even really get to like the chance to know them. And so a lot of times, especially with straight men or like white people, I like shut shit down immediately unless they've been like vetted by other friends.
Real.
I guess my question is, how do you combat that? Because I noticed that, I don't want to say you don't do it, but I noticed that you seem to, maybe it's your confidence in yourself, but you seem to move with more ease in that regard, and that you don't outwardly show that you're uncomfortable most of the time.
I think
so. How do you not have that chip on your shoulder with people?
I think that, this is actually something that me and my therapist have worked on a lot. So I think that hopefully that's the result of what you're saying, because I pay her enough. But I think that for me, my therapist does a lot of work with me about, I have a tendency to fill in the blanks. And what I mean by that is that sometimes I am telling the story before someone has written the words on the page. And I am, and I think that is something that she's really worked on with me. And And I've realized that it's an act of service that I do for myself, not for them. Because I feel like what we can often feel is that we're doing all of this emotional labor for someone else. But I don't think that's really what it is. I think that it's a matter of understanding I am creating a whole story, and that story has an emotional impact on me. So before this person has even come into my sphere, or this person is in my sphere, and before they've even like done the thing that I assume that they're going to do, I have given them the emotional impact that I'm assuming that they're going to have. That's what that assumption has done for me. Is that I have in my fear of being rejected, in my fear of being hurt, I have hurt myself because that is a hurt that I can control.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I think that what giving people the opportunity to fuck up can do for you is that it gives you the time and space to say, okay, cool. So I believe that this is where we're headed, but rather than me taking myself there on your behalf, I'm going to let you show me that that's who you are so that I can just say, I was right. And then that's a different feeling, right? Of like, oh, I was right. Cool. You know, I think there's a difference between like also prepping yourself and making sure that like, and also being aware of your situation, right? Because I think there's a distinct difference. There's a very distinct difference between like, this person is wearing a MAGA hat and is holding a tiki torch. I'm pretty solidly gonna walk away from this situation.
They might be chill. You know, Renee, I know that you're still working through that. No, I'm totally kidding. But I think that, you know, something also to revert, like the thing to also think about this is like also understanding what narratives have we been taught, because I think that as long as we are developing a habit of placing narratives on white people, we can also begin to place narratives on others as well. They're like, I'm not going to say that when I see a white person, I'm not kind of like, okay, well, we gonna see. You know, I still have that moment. I'm like, okay, girl, so what you about to do? Yeah. You know, if I walk into a room of all white people, I'm generally going to leave that room as quickly as possible. You know what I'm saying? But that's also because of how I judge my time and space. Yeah. But I think that the difference is that, you know, when we create these narratives that we create about ourselves and about each other, it is important to know where they come from. There was I can't remember what exactly he did, but there was a member of the NAACP, like someone who worked within that, who talked about the stereotypes around Black men and them not just being dangerous, but also the idea that Black men are like good at basketball, the idea that Black men have big dicks. This trope, this narrative, this stereotype coming from a place of ripping intellectualism from Black men and making them all about bodies, right? And I think that just as we can rip white people of their humanities and say that they are all this one thing, which I often do. So I'm not gonna, but when I do that, I'm referring to whiteness. So don't get it confused, white people who be getting real excited right now. But I think that when we are spending all of our time placing narratives on white people to rip them of their humanity and their humanity being inclusive of their ability to be racist and to fuck up, because that is a part of humanity. It is a part of humanity. Racism is a part of humanity. It is a dark part of humanity, but it is a part of our humanity. And I think that when we place all of those narratives on white folks and rip them of their humanity, it teaches us to also begin to believe in stereotypes and tropes. Once again, when I say this, because a lot of people could come for me and say, oh, well, Ianne, you're always talking about white people this and white people that. And I'm like, you're damn right I do. Because I talk about white people this and white people that in reference to the system of whiteness. When I talk about white people, I am talking about toxic whiteness. And white people are inevitably a recipient of that toxic whiteness. And there's a very big difference, however, between me saying that about them and me saying every white person that I see is going to support Trump. Every white person that I see is going to hurt me. Every white person that I see is going to da-da-da-da-da. I always give white people the space to fuck up. And luckily, white people usually never fail me and step in right at the beginning. So it's not even that much work. I'm actually reducing the amount of work, because if I just say, I'm going to let you come to me crooked, they often do it within the first handshake. Or first grasp of my curls, you know? And it's like, great, you did the work for me. I don't have to do any more work. And I can just say, okay, bye now. I mean, this is also a conversation that we've been dying to have for a long time about decentering whiteness, right? About, you know, our actions not being wrapped up in what white people think, what white people do, but rather being about
I recognize what whiteness is and what many white people are attached to because of their skin color.
Yeah.
But I feel no need to center their opinions, their ideas, or anything else about them in my actions as a person of color, because my lived experience as a person of color has nothing to do with them. Even my oppression has nothing to do, does not have to be linked to them, or at least it doesn't have to be wrapped up in them.
Yeah.
Because my liberation is not wrapped up in them.
Come on, word.
Wow.
Yes.
A word.
We actually, I mean, I've been dying to have a discourse about decentering whiteness, and we definitely need to have that
Now,
one
bitches
very
better
soon.
call me when you do.
I'm ready. But yeah, I think we are running a little long on time.
Mhm.
So, do you guys have any last things you want to say or ask really quickly? And you have to
Ian,
give your
I
answer,
love
Ian.
you.
It's
I
Ian.
will.
Oh, they just said that they love you.
Oh, love you too.
Yeah.
No short
Love
questions. They promised to give a short answer.
I promise to give a short answer. I'm gonna make it so quick you won't even believe it.
Also, I just want to say that I love your fashion, and then I don't know if Baze told you, but when I saw you in Baze's story after Poppy Juice, I was like, oh my god, tell Jan that they look amazing, and I love that top, the rainbow top that you had on.
Thank you, baby. Thank you.
So where can people find you?
You can find me at the free.
Well, we're not done. We
We're
can
not
we
done.
can do that
Oh.
after the mail.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But also, like, if you want to find me in general, you can just, like, come to your regular street corner or just come to my home. I'm always accepting applications. The girl is single out here. So, they're going to put a cute picture of me up, make sure. And, pay my bills. We're ready. It's fine.
Yes. If we have any rich listeners, y'all need to be paying our bills first, because we don't want to provide y'all with weekly content.
Oh, please. I'm new and shiny.
Bitch, honestly and truly, if you have any listeners with money, we are all accepting cash payments.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah, so we'll be back with Mail of Galère. What up? We back. Yeah, let's just jump right into this because we are a little short on time.
I'm so sorry, y'all.
It's
Please
okay.
fast forward.
You were giving
Don't be
us
sorry.
a couple of words, actually. You gave us
Yes,
a few
lots
sermons.
of words.
So this listener says, "Hey y'all, it's me again, the White Love Triangle thought. Oh, we remember you well. I haven't emailed in a long ass time. But since that time, I have experienced some hashtag growth. I unfriended the druggy white boy because he has since graduated and is going into senior year. I thought I should grow up and be a big girl. He's out of my life, and the other white boy has moved on, and I'm happily watching his drag and musical career grow."
Oh, that's nice.
Lovely.
Yeah, that means he'll probably, if he's skinny and white, he'll probably have more followers than anybody else of color on Drag Race. Anyway, you didn't say Drag Race, you just said in drag. Anyway, aside from that mess, I've been more in touch with my identity, especially with pose. Oh, okay. I've been experimenting with my femininity. Oh, wow, come on, topic. Yes.
Right,
Find your femme.
And specifically playing a lot more with makeup. Seeing John turn iconic looks inspired me to pick up my brushes and try some graphic looks of my own.
All of
Oh.
us.
Although she is still a mess, I now go from my Starmy chiffon to my Lady Liberty in no time. Most importantly, every week y'all are helping me get back on my feet in terms of just living in general, but that's another story. Also help me understand issues and topics. This is more honey roasty. Well, this is more Renee, but I'll take it. Also, special shout out to Baze, who continuously pushes the idea of found family, because I find that I'm constantly miserable with the state of my blood family. But you give me hope that I have access to a much better family, one that I am comfortable and open with without having to worry about being misheard, misunderstood. I would do a honey roast now, but I'm working on something for y'all that'll compensate for a lack of honey roast. Thank y'all for constantly evolving and continuing the podcast. The universe is looking out for y'all. Thank you.
I bet it's special.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, do you think
Butt plugs.
special? Oh my
Ooh,
god.
specialized butt plugs.
Yes. Oh my god.
Great.
Couture butt
Couture
plugs.
butt plugs.
Couture.
Couture.
Where'd you get? Oh, girl, where'd you
Couture
get your
butt
butt
plugs.
plugs? It's
Ooh,
couture.
girl, it couture's my ass up. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
There's only one in the world.
There's only one in the
There's
world.
nothing else like it, darling.
You joke, but that's going to be you.
Good luck.
As soon as you get to Europe, that's going to be you.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Good luck, darling. Where'd you get your
I need
dildo?
one.
Oh, I got it overseas, dude.
Overseas, yeah. It was custom made.
I got it in Nice.
In
Got it in Nice.
I got it in Nice.
Oh,
I wish I
no.
was going back to Nice. Anyway,
Here we go.
look. Okay, look. I'm actually
We're
going to
very
be,
happy
well,
for
I'm
you.
going to announce this next week. I was going to announce this next week, but I'm actually going to be gone for a couple weeks. So I'm going to Europa. Europa for a couple weeks, and hopefully it'll be cute. Anyway, I just wanted to honey roast Ianne really quickly. You are an inspiration. I really enjoy the way that you speak. There's this way about you, and like whenever I noticed it, I always reference like Viola Davis and like Janet Mock because they're two women who just speak with such conviction, and they're so engaging in the way that they speak that you can't help but like, I mean, they could literally just read like Shakespeare, which I don't give two fucks about, and I would be like hanging on their every word. And so you have that way of speaking. You like are very charismatic and just engaging. And I was going to reference that night with the guy where, you know, this dude was just being belligerent. The story we were just talking about earlier, he was being belligerent, and Ianne was just like came in and was like smoothly just conversing and was like just coming up with just like I was like, where do you get these words from? I wish like I'm trying to write and I'm like, I wish I had these words that just flow through me the way that word seemed to flow through you. So I just admire that.
Thank you, baby.
Yeah.
Aww. I'll go next, I think.
Yeah, go for it.
And like Baze was saying, Ian, you're such an inspiration, and for me particularly, I mean, even just now, like you're helping me find my femme, and I know that we've been talking about this on the side, but like, yeah, you're inspiration to me, and I think in the way that people, I mean, even me sometimes look at Janet Mock, I feel like you're my personal like roadmap, and I feel really lucky and blessed to have you in my life. And it just feels like supernatural, like not supernatural like magic, but I guess like magic too, but also natural in the way that like I feel like it takes me a while to sometimes like reveal certain things to people, but like I feel like we've been friends for a long time already, so
Yeah,
I'm really glad that and you know, echoing everything else that Baze was saying, you're so eloquent. Your words are, I mean, several sermons today. It was great, and so I mean, what you're doing for us, I can't even imagine what you're doing for everyone else in this world. So thank you so much.
Thank you, baby.
Oh, okay. Well, I just always found, I don't know, Ian just so inspirational, and just like I remember the first time I saw you on Instagram, and I was like, oh my god, they seem really cool, and like we need to be friends one day. And yeah, everything that you say is just like, wow, like I always really kind of resonates when you say something. And yeah, I just appreciate you and all of you just have like really good energy too, and I appreciate that as well.
Thanks, boo. Dog.
Right, well,
listen, don't you dare. You know I gotta say something about y'all.
Oh gosh.
Oh,
Don't you dare. Well, because for real, I was an A1 day one with y'all, for real. Like,
yes.
I think that I started listening on like the second or third episode.
Wow, that was
and
rough.
like
Thank
have
you.
listened every week since. And I am a big fan of supporting my friends and also making friends with the people that I support. And I'm just so honored that like I got to, you know, this has been something that I've wanted for a long time. I was like, you know what? I like this show. I wanna talk to these motherfuckers, see what's good with them. You know, so I'm just excited that I got to do that. I'm worried that I did a lot of the talking, but
No, that's what you were here
Oh
for.
my gosh.
oh god. But I just love being in. I love that y'all are a part of my week and my days, and that, you know, I will just go and listen to shows sometimes, old shows sometimes, and I'm just like, oh, I need to like get through the day. And you're all doing amazing things, and I'm just so happy to see the growth, the hashtag growth.
The growth.
You know?
Oh, thank you.
Y'all are beautiful people, and you're doing the right thing, so keep doing it.
Oh,
You. All right.
thank you,
my dear. So, where can we find you, and do you have anything coming up other than this show in Atlanta?
I do have quite a bit coming up. I'm going to try to
come on, Rakeem, for the week.
I do have quite a bit coming up. If you want to find me, you can find me at the free actorvist. That's TheFreeActorvist on Instagram. If you are interested in hiring me for anything, you can reach out to my manager, Jody Schoenburn Carter. Jody, yes. Jodi at 1022m.com. For things that are going on, this Saturday, July 28th, as soon as, basically in the evening after I get back from Atlanta, I'll be performing in Insight, which is a launch event for Insight TV. It's happening at 9:30 in the Green Room 42 at Yotel. Tickets are available at Insight, that's INSIGHT _people. I will be doing a panelist back in Birmingham. I'll be filming a panel and sending it into INCAC's camp. They are having 38 campers come in to just have queer camp, and it's super exciting. There's an awesome panel filled with my loves, Richard Caballero and Ali Massoud. So sorry about this, y'all. I'm choreographing a show, Desarrollo, which is about gentrification and queer and trans youth of color growing up in New York City. It's opening at the Corkscrew Theater Festival, or at Corkscrew Theater Festival, not the Corkscrew Theater Festival, July 27th through August 5th. Go to that website, look that up on Google. You'll find the website for tickets. I'm doing some talkback facilitation, and I'll skip some other things because they're kind of I'm not quite sure about the details, but the biggest thing is that a play I wrote called A Dying Breed, which is a dystopian examination of it's not so dystopian anymore. I wrote it in high school, and it's now kind of just more relevant than ever, but it's been developing it since. And a theater company in Bloomington, Illinois is going to be flying me out for the world premiere of it. That will be happening September 4th through 10th. And the shows are happening that Saturday and Sunday at 3 o'clock and 8 o'clock. So make sure that if you're in the Illinois area that you come out and see me.
Yeah. Congrats. Shit.
Jean, Renee.
Oh, I just wanted to say, I really like your Instagram too, because you do this thing I really appreciate called community shoutouts.
Yeah.
Your story is amazing. When I watch your stories, it's just your personal life, but also uplifting the community. And I think that's really admirable.
Thanks, babe. I need to do another one of those. I haven't done them in a while. Cool.
Okay. So I guess we are good to go. You guys can find us as Trash of Color on Twitter, Podcast of Color everywhere else, POC on iTunes. I mean, you probably are listening to us there. I'm trying to figure out, honestly, what's going on with Google Play, because I manually added it to our hosting site, and it's still, some people are complaining that it's still not on there, so I'm sorry, guys. I'm really trying to figure out. I mean, if you found another way to listen to this, of course. We're trying to figure out a way to get that on there. Yes. Follow our YouTube channel. You know, our subscribers are moving up slowly but surely. Don't forget to rate and comment on our iTunes, because it raises our profile. And I'm also working very much on our emails and clearing those out, because we've been, we've all gotten a little busy and haven't been as on top of those as we should have been. But yes, please keep writing into us. Yeah. I think I covered everything. Anything I'm missing? Yeah. I'm not used to doing this. This is usually Rakeem's job. But yeah, so
shout out to Rakeem, because I was really excited to meet you. So you should hit me up on Instagram or something, because I'd love to.
Well, you'll be back. So,
okay, well then great. Cool. Then
yes.
Yeah, so we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you all so much for having me. Love you all. Bye.
Goodbye.
This podcast is executively produced by Aaliyah J. Daniels, LaShawn McGee, Damian Pelliccioni, Christopher Rodriguez, John Kagandahan, Hakeem Cunningham, Baze White, and Renee Hernandez.